Good afternoon, and welcome to today's webcast introducing the Vanguard Oil Guard system. I'm Troy Blewett, the Director of Dealer Channel Marketing for Briggs & Stratton Turf and Consumer Products. Oil Guard is the latest innovation available on Ferris mowers aimed at increasing user productivity. The Vanguard Oil Guard system will allow owners and operators to operate their mower for 500 hours between oil changes. Developed in collaboration with Briggs & Stratton Commercial Power, the Vanguard Oil Guard system will be available only on Ferris and Snapper Pro mowers using Vanguard 810 EFI and Vanguard Big Block commercial engines. During today's webcast, you'll learn how Oil Guard works, how it benefits your customers, and how it will be promoted in the marketplace. Let's get started.
Hi, I'm Phil Wenzel, Vice President of Commercial Turf Products. We take great pride in designing equipment that helps owners and operators increase productivity. The new Vanguard Oil Guard system is revolutionary yet simple. Found exclusively on Ferris and Snapper Pro mowers using the Vanguard 810 and Big Block commercial engine series. The Oil Guard system increases oil change intervals from the current 100 hours to 500 hours. That means fewer oil changes, less downtime, so Ferris and Snapper Pro users can keep cutting. Okay, so now let's talk for a minute about what are the technical aspects of Oil Guard. How do I use it? How does it benefit me? So the basis of the Oil Guard system is going from what's called a traditional wet sup engine, where you pour oil in, oil goes into the base of the engine, that's where it's contained. The oil pump picks up the oil, pressurizes the various bearings and other crucial parts of the engine. The oil drains back into the base, and it just keeps recirculating. It holds about 2 quarts of oil, give or take, depending on engine size. In a dry sump system, which, by the way, dry sump systems are very well proven in high performance racing applications, NASCAR, Baja 1000, motorcycles, wherever engine oiling performance is absolutely essential to finishing the race and competing. So this is well-proven technology of being extremely dependable and increasing dependability of engines. So we talked about a wet sump. So this is what's called a dry sump system, which means that a minimum amount of oil is kept in the base of the engine. A large amount of oil is kept in a separate reservoir. In this case, the tank and the system comprise a 6-quart overall system. Now this tank is manufactured of a very robust 1/8-inch thick aluminum. We picked aluminum because it no corrosion and it dissipates heat well. So what happens is we added, to make this work, how does the oil get from the engine back and forth? We very simply added a second pump, same parts, just a little smaller capacity, to the engine, so it now has what we call a scavenge pump. Scavenge pump, the oil goes by gravity out of the tank right here and goes through the engine and then is pumped back into the tank where it circulates back, goes through the filter and circulates back down. So that is the basic concept of how a dry sump system works. So let's talk about the advantages for you. The advantages being going from 100 hours to 500 hours with no compromise to engine health or durability. So how do we get there? Well, we went from 2 quarts to 6-quart system. So we have 3 times as much oil to work with. So it's 3 times as long before we'd have the same amount of contaminants in it. Now, what else do? We filter the oil better. Here's a conventional oil filter. It's used on all the engines today. Here's an Oil Guard filter. twice the capacity. Now, that alone is quite a statement. But what's even more important is the fact that this has a much finer filtration ability than the standard oil filter. Standard oil filter today filters 50% of 20 micron particles. OilGuard filter filters 90% of 20 micron filters. Again, almost twice as good. So you've got better filtration, you've got more oil, and then we talked about the fact that the tank being aluminum, being external from the engine, you get a cooling effect, helps your engine and oil run cooler to last longer. So that's how we get from 100 hours to 500 hours. Now, how do I use the system? The system is extremely easy, convenient, and fast to use. In fact, oil changes are now toolless. That's right, requires no tools to change the engine oil or the filter. So let me demonstrate that to you. Say I want to perform an oil change. I'm going to step over to the machine here, demonstrate. Okay, I'd have my receptacle. I place it underneath the machine. Quarter turn cap, take that off. Now, I turn the filter 1/4 of a turn, and I simply lift it out. Got a container here, of which I can place the filter. It'll be dripping with some oil, but basically, just right here, there's no mess to it. I come to the rear of the machine, where is located an oil drain valve. I take off the safety cap. It's brass, it's got an O-ring seal, and then I simply open the drain valve. Okay, simple enough. I come back, I get my new filter ready, set it here, all set. Okay, my oil has stopped draining. Close the valve. Put the brass safety cap back on. And I would take, this tank holds 5 quarts. Even says that right on the tank cap. You don't have to look it up, none of that. And you simply take a 5-quart container, dump it in the system, done. Take your filter, quarter turn, locked in, cap, quarter turn, locked in, you're done. It's that simple. Now, not as part of the OilGuard system, but something of an added benefit to you when you buy Ferris or Snapper Pro mowers is these will be factory filled with a new specially formulated Vanguard oil. It'll be a 1550 weight, fully synthetic. Now it's kind of interesting, that was not part of the original project. But as we tested and tested and tested the system, how do you test the system and how the oiling system is performing? You analyze the oil. Well, we analyze the oil, we analyze the oil, we analyze the oil. Well, we tried different weight oils, we tried different formulas too to see if they had any different effects. Through that process, we learned what oil works best in these engines. So we formulated that oil, and we're going to factory fill that for the overall system, but it is not required. 500-hour oil change can still be done with conventional motor oil. We just thought as we went through this, we'd create for our customers the best possible system and oil that we could at the same time, along with offering the Vanguard oil and filters, which will be exclusive and sold through Briggs & Stratton dealers. So we really wanted to put this whole package together to make owning, operating a Ferris or Snapper Pro mower as productive and practical and easy to use as possible. So thank you for letting me show you the Vanguard Oil Guard system, and come and visit your dealer and check it out in person.
Thanks, Phil. So let's review. The Vanguard Oil Guard system is the only turf engine system that extends oil change intervals to 500 hours, which translates to increased productivity, lower maintenance costs, easier maintenance, and extended engine life. Oil Guard means increased productivity for your customers. Increasing the oil change interval from 100 hours to 500 hours means less time spent changing the oil and more time cutting. It also means lower maintenance costs, approximately 60% per unit per season versus standard oil maintenance with a 100-hour service interval. With direct access to the oil filter and drain tube in a toolless process, changing the oil is also quicker, easier, and mess-free. Finally, the Oil Guard system protects your engine. The system's 6-quart oil capacity means more oil doing less work. The external reservoir helps shield engine oil from thermal breakdown for a cooler running engine. And the automotive-style filter provides 80% better filtration. The true test of any innovation is, of course, how it performs in the field. We've done extensive testing in Munsville and around the country, including placing units with the Oil Guard system in the hands of professional cutters. Here's what 2 of them had to say.
The oil guard helps a lot since we don't have to change oil. That takes time, can take about, half an hour, 40 minutes. By the time, the guys come in and do that, we do it the oil ourselves.
One of the things I enjoy about this motor is there's no downtime for maintenance. So it's out in the field actually cutting grass, and time is money.
The Ferris lineup for model year 2017 includes 6 product categories with Oil Guard models. In the IS series, we feature the IS 3200Z with a Vanguard Big Block and a Vanguard Big Block EFI, both a 32 horsepower and a 37 horsepower unit with 61 and 72-inch decks. The IS 2100Z is available in a 26 horsepower with a Vanguard 810cc EFI in either 52 or 61-inch decks. Then we move to the Ferris Fleet series. The F320Z has 2 37 horsepower models, again with 61 or 72-inch decks. And the F210Z features a Vanguard 810 EFI, 28 horsepower, 61-inch deck. We have the SRS Z2 stand-on in 28 with 52 or 61-inch decks. And finally, we have a stand-on unit, the FW35. It is available in either standard or comfort controls, 28 horsepower 52 or 28 horsepower 61-inch decks. Some Oil Guard models will be available for shipment to dealers in October. Contact your district sales manager for complete details and availability. Today is the introduction of the Vanguard Oil Guard system to you, one of our valued dealer partners. Its formal introduction to the industry will be at this year's GIE Expo trade show, starting with a press event October 18th. We will introduce it on the same day to the general public via our Ferris Facebook site and Ferris website. Sell sheets and an in-store video for your use will be mailed to your dealership prior to that date. The top 50 dealers in terms of Oil Guard bookings as of October 31st will qualify for a special direct mail program. You can see here that we have an introductory box that would be available for you to mail to up to 20 of your top cutters or customers. It directs those customers back to you for more information about Oil Guard. Your DSM will be checking with you for the qualified customers that you want to put on your mailing list, and these boxes will be dropped in a November or December timeframe. We are also developing a new training presentation to help you introduce and promote the Vanguard Oil Guard system to key cutters in your area. Working with your district sales managers, invite at least 10 cutters to a meeting on Oil Guard, and you have pre-approval to use up to $500 of your co-op at $75.25 for meeting costs, including food beverages, and giveaways. The event must take place between November 1st, 2016 and January 31st, 2017, and you must have at least one Ferris Oil Guard unit in stock to display at the meeting. Again, contact your district sales manager for all the details. Oil Guard will be heavily touted in our spring advertising and promotional materials. These materials are part of this year's POP kit, and if you haven't already ordered your kit, a reminder was sent to your dealership this past Monday. Spring trade advertising will be running in Turf and Lawn and Landscape magazines from February through April. And a Ferris television commercial will be running on the Weather Channel, DIY, at Fox Sports in April and May. The theme of the ad is innovative productivity, promoting Ferris's patented suspension and Oil Guard systems. Let's take a look now at the in-store video we'll be sending your way shortly.
Vanguard's innovative Oil Guard technology is a first in the commercial landscape market, offering extended oil maintenance intervals, faster oil changes, and unprecedented cost savings.
We wanted to give you an opportunity.
Unlike typical commercial engines, Oil Guard's oil storage has been moved away from the engine sump, protecting the oil from thermal breakdown. And by creating a bulk reservoir out of aluminum, a 5-quart volume of oil and the cooling properties of the metal work together to disperse heat. This helps extend oil maintenance intervals to a recommended 500 hours instead of the typical 100 hours. Oil Guard also enhances oil filtration thanks to an 82% larger automotive-style filter and a cyclonic filter action, which helps decrease oil aeration. And oil changes are now faster and easier than ever thanks to Oil Guard's operator-focused design. Positioned for easier access, just open the drain tube and remove and swap the filter with a quick turn. The new wide mouth opening easily fits 5-quart oil bottles for no mess and no need for a funnel. Less downtime, lower labor costs, longer engine life, and faster oil changes will make your work easier and cheaper, saving you up to 60% on oil maintenance cost per unit per season. The Oil Guard system, only available from Vanguard.
Now, we're going to take a 2-minute break to let you submit any questions you may have about Oil Guard. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I have here with me Jim Cross, the marketing manager for commercial engines at Briggs & Stratton, and I have Phil Wenzel on the phone with us. So let's take our first question. Do I need special oil, Jim?
That's a great question. The Oil Guard system is a part of an integrated part of the engine. So like any Vanguard engine, we recommend that you follow the oil recommendations found in the operator's manual.
Matt from Frisco, Texas asks, where do I get parts to service the Vanguard Oil Guard system? Parts are available for the Oil Guard system through standard existing part distribution outlets. That's Power Distributors, Power Source in Canada, and Ferris Distributors. Here's a question for Phil from Ben in New Jersey. Is there a time interval for an oil change, once a year or every other year?
Well, the time interval change is simply based on engine hours. So it's 500 hours. There's no specific limitation on time.
Thanks, Phil. Our next question. Another question for Phil. Phil, can you comment on using Oil Guard in a retrofit or repowering situation?
Since the engine has a special design sump with 2 oil pumps in it, it's not economically practical to try to retrofit an Oil Guard system to an existing unit.
Thanks, Phil. How much extra does the Oil Guard system cost? I can take that one. It's an additional $300 to the MAP cost. This is from Mike in Enid. Jim, I'll turn this one to you. You keep mentioning 6-quart system, but only requires 5 quarts.
That's a great question, Mike. The entire system altogether takes 6 quarts. There's 5 quarts in the external reservoir, but there's an actual about a quart between the lines and the residual and the sump at any given time.
Here's a question for you, Phil. Can you talk about the need for a break-in oil change?
There is no break-in oil change required with the OilGuard system. Your first oil change can be at 500 hours, and all operating engine manuals have been adjusted to reflect that get shipped with the OilGuard system.
I'd like to thank everyone for watching the webinar today. We have no more questions. We will be sending out a frequently asked questions list when we send out your in-store video. Thanks and have a great day.